It's no secret that Hollywood has given us some of the most legendary performances, creating icons that will live on forever. But what if we told you that some of these stars, the ones who dazzled on stage and screen, were often too wasted to even perform? Behind the glitz and glamour, some of Hollywood's biggest names struggled with their demons, leading to shocking moments where they simply couldn't go on. In this video, we're uncovering the shocking stories of 15 Hollywood stars who were too wasted to perform, and the chaos that followed when the cameras rolled. Number 15. Richard Burton. The studios wanted you to see Richard Burton as the commanding, velvet-voiced Shakespearean actor who seduced Elizabeth Taylor. What do they never want you to know? During The Klansman, 1974, Burton was so catastrophically drunk he couldn't even stand on his own. The shocking truth, Burton wasn't just drinking. He was consuming 3 bottles of vodka daily. Director Terence Young was forced to use a stand-in for basic walking scenes because Burton's alcoholism had destroyed his balance. Co-stars described finding him incoherent between takes, sometimes unable to remember where he was. Burton later confessed in private diaries, "I am sitting here at 4 a.m. knowing I have to get up at 7 and trying to reconcile 1,000 conflicts within myself." His addiction was so severe that insurance companies nearly refused to cover him. A career death sentence in Hollywood. Number 14. Elizabeth Taylor. She was marketed as the most beautiful woman in the world, but behind those legendary violet eyes lurked a devastating addiction that nearly destroyed her. The studio publicity machine worked overtime to hide the shocking truth. Their most valuable star was collapsing under the weight of alcohol and pills. During The Bluebird, 1976, Taylor's addiction reached catastrophic levels. What audiences never saw. Taylor was so intoxicated she couldn't remember basic lines, stumbling on set and requiring handlers to physically support her between takes. Crew members revealed she would disappear for hours, emerging later clearly impaired and unable to function. The studio system that built her image was the same one that fed her addiction, starting when doctors pumped the teenage Taylor full of painkillers after a back injury on National Velvet. By the time she became the first major celebrity to publicly enter the Betty Ford Center in 1983, the damage was already done. Number 13. Montgomery Clift. The heartbreaking truth about Montgomery Clift reveals Hollywood's most disturbing secret. They watched him destroy himself. After a devastating car accident left him disfigured and in chronic pain, Clift spiraled into a nightmare of alcohol and prescription drugs that the studios helped supply. What the public never knew. During The Misfits, 1961, Clift was so physically damaged by addiction that he would shake uncontrollably until he could consume enough alcohol to steady his hands. Director John Huston confessed years later that filming became a daily nightmare, with crew members never knowing if Clift would even be coherent enough to perform. Most shocking of all, his Misfits co-star Marilyn Monroe, herself battling substance abuse, reportedly said, "He's the only person I know who's in worse shape than I am." Within years, both would be dead from their addictions, sacrificed to the Hollywood machine that used them up and discarded them. Number 12. Mary Astor. Mary Astor projected refined elegance in classics like The Maltese Falcon. But what audiences never suspected was that the sophisticated star was desperately battling alcoholism that threatened to destroy her career and her life. The hidden scandal. During Desert Fury, 1947, production was repeatedly shut down when Astor was too intoxicated to perform. Studio executives didn't offer help. They threatened to terminate her contract. The psychological torture of maintaining her perfect image while falling apart inside only drove her deeper into addiction. Astor later revealed the brutal truth in her shocking autobiography. "I drank too much and too many different things. And in the end, I drank because I had to." The studio system that built her image was the same one that nearly destroyed her, feeding the addiction until she finally found salvation through Alcoholics Anonymous, becoming one of the first Hollywood stars to admit publicly to the disease. Number 11. Errol Flynn. The dashing hero of Captain Blood and Robin Hood hid a dark secret behind his swashbuckling smile. Errol Flynn was consumed by an alcohol addiction so severe it visibly aged him decades beyond his years. The devastating truth, During The Adventures of Don Juan, 1948, Flynn was frequently so intoxicated he couldn't complete even basic stunts. Director Vincent Sherman was forced to use doubles and creative camera tricks to hide Flynn's deterioration from audiences. In The Master of Ballantrae, 1953, the once athletic star had to be fitted with padded costumes to maintain the illusion of his heroic physique. Flynn's infamous quote, "I like my whiskey old and my women young," masked the tragic reality of a man drinking himself to death. When Flynn died at just 50, his autopsy revealed the shocking extent of organ damage from his years of excess. A star pickled by the addiction Hollywood helped fuel. Number 10. Judy Garland. The most heartbreaking Hollywood tragedy began when studio executives forced amphetamines on a 16-year-old Judy Garland during The Wizard of Oz, creating an addiction that would haunt her until her death. The horrifying truth: by her 20s, Garland's dependency had grown so severe that MGM assigned handlers to monitor her 24 hours a day, some sleeping outside her door to ensure she'd make it to set. During A Star is Born, 1954, production halted repeatedly when Garland couldn't function. Studio head Jack Warner reportedly threatened to abandon the entire multi-million-dollar production due to her unpredictability. What audiences never saw: Garland arrived at concerts so impaired that handlers would prop her up backstage, inject her with stimulants, and physically push her on stage, sometimes to brilliance, other times to heartbreaking disaster. After her death from an overdose at just 47, co-star Ray Bolger, the Scarecrow, delivered the devastating epitaph, "She just wore out." Number 9. Humphrey Bogart. Humphrey Bogart crafted the ultimate tough guy image, but his famous line, "The whole world is 3 drinks behind," wasn't just a clever quip, it was the confession of a man in the grip of a devastating addiction. The shocking reality: during The African Queen, 1951, Bogart boasted that whiskey kept him from contracting dysentery in the Congo, but crew members revealed a darker truth. His morning shakes were so severe that early scenes often required numerous takes before he could deliver clear dialogue. While Bogart maintained better functioning than many of his contemporaries, the constant alcohol abuse ultimately caught up with him. The esophageal cancer that claimed his life at 57 was directly linked to his decades of heavy drinking, the final tragic chapter for one of Hollywood's most iconic stars. Number 8. Bette Davis. Bette Davis built her reputation on fierce professionalism, but as younger actresses began replacing her, the legendary star turned increasingly to alcohol, with devastating consequences no one was allowed to discuss. The hidden truth: during The Anniversary, 1968, Davis's drinking became so problematic that director Roy Ward Baker was reportedly fired after complaining about her condition on set. By Burnt Offerings, 1976, crew members described Davis appearing visibly disoriented during afternoon shoots, her legendary hands shaking so severely she used her trademark cigarettes to disguise the tremors. Davis later admitted the heartbreaking reality: in an industry that worshipped youth and beauty, alcohol became her only comfort as she aged. The poison that helped her cope with Hollywood's brutal rejection system ultimately dimmed one of cinema's brightest lights. Number 7. John Barrymore. John Barrymore, once hailed as America's greatest Shakespearean actor, suffered perhaps the most dramatic addiction-fueled fall in Hollywood history. The man known as the Great Profile became a cautionary tale of talent destroyed by alcohol. The devastating reality: by the late 1930s, Barrymore's legendary memory had been so thoroughly destroyed by alcohol that he could no longer remember his lines. During Marie Antoinette, 1938, crew members revealed the heartbreaking truth: Barrymore had to read his dialogue from cue cards and notes hidden throughout the set. His hands shook so violently from withdrawal that cinematographers struggled to capture usable close-ups. Most shocking of all, in his final films, directors scheduled his scenes for early morning, the only time he might be sober enough to function. The magnificent actor who once defined theatrical excellence died a caricature of himself, destroyed by the very substance he believed enhanced his performances. Number 6. Spencer Tracy. Spencer Tracy won multiple Academy Awards for his naturalistic performances, But what audiences never suspected was that his seemingly effortless acting style masked a man fighting a desperate battle against alcoholism. The hidden truth: during Bad Day at Black Rock, 1955, Tracy's condition became so concerning that production was temporarily halted. Director John Sturgis later revealed that Tracy's hands would shake uncontrollably each morning, requiring numerous takes for steady close-up shots. The studio kept these delays quiet, protecting their valuable star from public scrutiny. Tracy's longtime partner, Katharine Hepburn, became his fiercest protector, working secretly with studios to schedule filming around his periods of sobriety. While Tracy maintained his career until his death following Guess Who's Coming to Dinner in 1967, the private toll of his addiction remained hidden from his adoring public, another casualty of Hollywood's culture of secrets. Number 5. Marlon Brando. Marlon Brando revolutionized acting with his raw authenticity, but his brilliant career devolved into chaos as alcohol and food addiction took control of his life. The shocking reality: during Mutiny on the Bounty, 1962, Brando's drinking contributed to countless production delays and budget overruns. Director Louis Milestone was reportedly driven to near breakdown by Brando's unpredictable behavior, threatening to abandon the troubled production entirely. By the time he filmed Apocalypse Now, 1979, Brando's excesses had transformed him so dramatically that director Francis Ford Coppola was forced to film him primarily in shadow. The brilliant actor arrived on set without having memorized any lines, improvising much of his performance through an alcoholic haze. Brando's tragic self-assessment reveals how deeply his addictions wounded him. "I've always thought of myself as a failure." The revolutionary actor who changed cinema forever became imprisoned by the very excesses that fed his genius. Number 4. Frank Sinatra. Frank Sinatra crafted a smooth, sophisticated image, but those who worked with him knew a different truth. His legendary voice was fueled by a volatile combination of alcohol and emotion that could explode at any moment. The disturbing reality: during Guys and Dolls, 1955, Sinatra's drinking reportedly inflamed his already contentious relationship with co-star Marlon Brando. Crew members described Sinatra becoming increasingly hostile after lunch breaks, when he would consume several martinis in rapid succession. By The Detective, 1968, director Gordon Douglas had developed a strategic approach to Sinatra's drinking, scheduling his most challenging scenes for early morning before the alcohol could take effect. As the day progressed, Sinatra's performance would deteriorate, forcing the production to work around his impairment. What makes Sinatra's story unique is how he adapted his singing technique to accommodate the damage caused by years of alcohol and cigarette use, transforming liability into legendary style, the rare case of an addiction shaping an artistic legacy. Number 3. Ava Gardner. Ava Gardner's stunning beauty made her a Hollywood icon, but behind the glamorous image lurked a self-destructive rebel whose alcoholism threatened to destroy both her career and her legendary looks. The hidden scandal: during Mugambo, 1953, in Africa, Gardner's drinking reportedly caused numerous production delays. Even director John Ford, himself a notorious drinker, became frustrated with Gardner's unreliability and erratic behavior. By The Night of the Iguana, 1964, Gardner's alcoholism had progressed alarmingly. Director John Huston noted that Gardner would often appear disoriented during afternoon shoots. Co-star Richard Burton, fighting his alcohol demons, described their shared binges as apocalyptic, drinking sessions so extreme they threatened to shut down the entire production. Gardner later confessed the painful truth with characteristic bluntness: "I wish to hell I could get over always wanting another drink." Her addiction prevented her from reaching her full potential, leaving audiences with only glimpses of what might have been one of Hollywood's most brilliant careers. Number 2. Dean Martin. Dean Martin built his entire persona around being a charming drunk, famously joking, "You're not drunk if you can lie on the floor without holding on." The shocking truth: what began as an act eventually consumed the man behind it. The hidden reality: during The Ambushes, 1967, Martin's alcohol consumption reportedly led to forgotten lines and multiple retakes. Director Henry Levin allegedly scheduled Martin's scenes for early morning, to ensure maximum coherence before the day's drinking began. Martin's Rat Pack performances became increasingly unpredictable through the 1960s. While audiences laughed at slurred words and missed cues, fellow performers recognized genuine impairment beneath the comedic veneer. The line between Martin's public persona and private struggle gradually disappeared, the act becoming reality as addiction took hold. Martin's son later revealed the painful truth: Dad wasn't a drunk, but Dad was an alcoholic. The calculated image that made him famous ultimately trapped him in a prison of addiction that was no longer pretend. Number 1. Robert Mitchum. Robert Mitchum's laconic screen presence perfectly complemented his rebellious approach to Hollywood excess. "I started to be a sex fiend, but couldn't pass the physical," he famously joked, masking a serious alcohol dependency behind witty one-liners. The truth Hollywood hid. During The Yakuza, 1974, Mitchum's drinking reportedly created serious tension with director Sidney Pollack. Crew members revealed that Mitchum would sometimes appear visibly intoxicated for afternoon shoots, requiring multiple takes for even simple scenes that had to be strategically edited around his impairment. Mitchum's philosophical take on his addiction was as complex as the man himself. "I have two evils to choose from: be successful and insecure, or be unsuccessful and secure." This fatalistic view allowed him to navigate Hollywood's temptations more successfully than many contemporaries, but never fully escape their destructive allure. These shocking moments prove that even the brightest stars have their dark sides. The stories behind these performances show the high price of fame and the hidden struggles many stars faced. Now, we want to hear from you. Who shocked you the most? Which star's story left you speechless? Don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more jaw-dropping stories about Hollywood's biggest secrets. And if you're hungry for more, leave a comment below and let us know which legends you want us to uncover next.